Welcome back, everyone, for part two of the NBA season preview special with me and Brant here. We're just running a little two-man, high-low, pick and roll, pick and pop two-man game like we do. Yep. We're back with the West, baby. This is the fun one. This is what everybody wants to hear, wants to see.
Yep.
Western Conference is loaded. It has been since time immemorial, but as of right now, it's really, really loaded. A lot of old guys, a lot of old teams, a lot of young blood. It's going to be a fun Western Conference this year. So we're going to start at the bottom. You got anything before we start?
It's a joke how much better the West is in the East this year, especially at the bottom. Just real quick, the Clippers are 12th in the West in win total, 39.5. That would be 8th in the East.
Yeah.
So you go from missing the play-in entirely to 8th. Yeah, it's especially this middle tier where we're going to get to, where there's all these teams that they have the exact same win totals, like in these two different categories, and it's like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. A lot of different possibilities in the middle of this conference for sure.
Yep. Don't want to disparage the top of the East. Any Eastern Conference stands out there who want to be like, oh, the top of the West.
Sure. The top of the East
is good. We're talking about depth in the middle on the West is for sure better. It's a way deeper conference. Starting at the bottom, we're going to go with the Portland Trail Blazers. Team win totals at 22.5. They won 21 games last year. They bring in Denny Avdia, the IDF agent, and Donovan
the
Clingan.
Flash. Do you hear they call him Flash?
Avdia?
Yeah, apparently he's fast. I watched the Wizards last year. I never noticed him being super fast.
That's interesting. They bring in Kling Kong off of back-to-back championships from Connecticut.
Yeah, love him. My goat.
To join their center rotation of Rob Williams, DeAndre Ayton, and now Donovan Clingan. Interesting team. A lot of individual players I love on this team. I love Shaedon Sharpe. So fun to watch. If you haven't watched Shaedon Sharpe's dunk package on YouTube, go search that shit up. It is awesome. Scoot, we will see. He's not looked good last year. He's not looked good in preseason. Wow. We were wrong on Scoot Henderson. I was so in on Scoot Henderson. I blame Bill Simmons for spreading propaganda all over national media broadcasts for Scoot, him and Russillo. But yeah, we'll see with this team. I really like Simons. I just don't know how he fits in with the three guards that they have.
The fit is the interesting thing here because these guys, they all, like you said, individually, you like all these guys. And what was interesting about last season is they all missed time separately. So this was a different guy's team every time you turn the TV on. So Sharpe, who is out 4 to 6 weeks to start the season, by the way, he played in 32 games last year, 16 a game. Simons played in 46, 23 a game. Grant played in 54, 21 a game. And if you'll remember, Delano Banton, in 30 games, he started only 8 games. He scored 16.7 points per game. And a lot of those games, he was barely playing. But the lack of a fit between these guys and the lack of any defense at all, interior or perimeter, is why this win total is so low.
Yeah. I'm probably in on the under just because of how good the West is. I don't see how this team – this is by far the worst roster in the West. I don't see how they don't have a single star to stand on. They don't have consistency offensively because of the guys are injured and they're young and they're inconsistent players. I would look at, honestly, Chauncey Billups, what his odds are at first. Coach fired. They brought him in because it was the guy Dame wanted. I don't think the new GM really cares if he's there or not.
Inconsistency is the right word.
Yeah.
I was glad you used that word. That's exactly what you get with these guys. Shout out to Tumari Camara, by the way. Dayton Flyer alum.
Oh, speaking of the Flyers, did you see what channel their game's on today? It's on Facebook. Saw that on Twitter. That was
Love
hilarious.
my Flyers. I'm heading to Glasgow to watch. Shout out Glasgow, the UD bar. Camara is already a fan favorite on Blazers Twitter. They love Camara. He's a hustle guy, a defender, a good passer. but yeah, he's going to get buried. He's not going to get the ball. He's going to get buried by these other guards.
I think this is a year where they're going to take and they're just going to run all the young guys. They're going to see what works, play them all, and I think this is a year to assess what they have and find a direction. And I think that they want to be bad this year and want to try and get flag, and then build the team up next year once they make the hard decisions on who they're keeping, who they're getting rid of. They obviously have 3 centers that they're either have high draft capital in, high trade capital in, or have paid a lot of money to, or they didn't pay it, but they are paying it now with like Ayton. You can't do that in today's NBA. So I would expect that one of those at least will be traded by the end of the season.
I think Klingon probably is not there yet offensively to be getting real minutes.
No.
Maybe by the end of the season they're working him into the rotation, but I wouldn't expect him to be a serious contributor at the start of this year. I think it's going to be mostly Ayton and Williams.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk about when they drafted him,
which is gross.
There was talk about when they drafted him, like, can you run dominating at the 4? But I don't think that that's something you really want to do.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Especially when Jeremy Grant's out there too. I wouldn't be surprised if Grant gets traded also. I like Grant. I think he can contribute to a lot of teams. And his contract, when he signed it, everybody was freaking out about. $30 million a year now is nothing. That's a very tradable contract. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone.
I don't know about this number though. It's like you said, for a team with this much scoring and this much talent, it's shocking that their number is this low. But it reflects like none of these guys have ever won games before.
Yeah, I just think that when you're looking at the West, like the other 2 teams that we have in this tier, I think are light years ahead of the Blazers. So then obviously every team above them is too. So I would say that I think just compared to the rest of the conference, they're not going to win many conference games. So I just think that this under probably hits comfortably. I could see them maybe having the worst record of the NBA, to be honest. Other than the Nets would be tough to beat.
When I look at the number, I think it's too low. But then when I look at the rest of the West, I think definitely this is the worst team, and that makes me. They won 21 last year, but so many guys missed so much time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it, but I do lean under for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it either because it's low, and I agree with you because I like the players of this team. I can't fully get behind the under, but yeah, I would lean it. I think they are the worst roster for sure. Next one we got Utah Jazz. They're at 28.5. They won 31 games last year. They re-signed. Oh, they didn't re-sign Markkanen. No, they did re-sign him. They did. But they re-signed him after the date that he could be traded. So he will be on this team for the whole year, which is why this line is at 28.5. I don't know what they're doing. Don't think they know what they're doing. They haven't made a decision on if the past 2 years they've started out hot, win a lot of games in the first half of the year, and then they pull the plug and try and get a top 10 pick. You can't keep playing this middle of the road game hoping you win the lottery. You need to get to the top, or you need to go and sign players and trade for players and build a contender around Lauri. Lauri is going to win you enough games. Is it Lauri or Lowry? Lowry?
I think it's Lowry.
Okay.
I don't know. I avoid saying it.
Yeah. You need to build around the finisher. All right. And I don't know. I don't think that this team is that good other than him, but I think he's very good. And obviously their coach is great, and they won 31 last year. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm playing the under for this one. I think that there's a chance that they just make up an injury for him and sit him.
So this team's so interesting to me. I could not believe how bad they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
I love so many guys on this roster. I love Keontae George. I love Colin Sexton. I love Markkanen, obviously. Walker Kessler, who averaged 2.4 blocks in just 23 minutes a game last year.
Yeah.
But then they also have so many guys that I hate, that I think are terrible, like John Collins and Jordan Clarkson. And watching this team last year and rooting for them and rooting for the guys was so frustrating to see the push and pull between Jordan Clarkson on one end and Keontae George on the other, who Clarkson is the better player right now, for sure, and is definitely a more consistent scorer. But Keontae George this is totally eye test because he didn't have good numbers last year. I felt like every time down the stretch, the ball was in his hands, they needed to play. He made it. Like, I felt like this kid was big time. But what keeps me from really buying in on this team, I think they're really going to miss Chris Dunn, who is sneaky one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. And even with him putting up really great perimeter defense efficiency numbers last year, they were still the worst defense in the league per 100 possessions. And I don't know that Kessler's offensive game has come far enough to increase his minutes. And between George, Sexton, Collins, and Clarkson out there, they aren't really going to be able to guard anybody again.
It's tough.
They draft Cody Williams, number 10, but he's really raw. He's not going to be good. They got Kyle Filipowski, 31st. He fell all the way to the second round.
Yeah, for reasons.
Right. I think it's hard to project what this team's going to be because, like you said, it's hard to know what they're going to do with marketing. Are they going to shut him down? Are they going to try to tank?
I think, I mean, with Ainge, you know, he got so much praise for the Gobert trade and the Mitchell trade. Mitchell trade less so, but like, oh, he got all these picks. Look at Ainge. He's just doing it again. You know, he made the trade with Brooklyn that got them Tatum and Brown. I think that trade's a little different than what we're seeing happening here because the picks that he's getting in right now from these teams and will be getting for at least the next couple of years are end of the first round picks. They're 20 plus picks, and those aren't picks that you get to rebuild with.
They picked 10, 29, and 31 in this draft. They got Cody Williams, Isaiah Collins, and Kyle Filipowski.
It's just not. That's not how you can build a actual team. So maybe those picks in 27, 28 hit, but that's like we're just going to be middle of the lottery until then. Like, what is the plan? What's the direction? And I don't know what it is.
If they try to win, they could sneak into the play-in and get above this win total. But
I just don't think this year is the year that they do it. I think when you have a prospect as good as Flag, I think this is the year that you throw it out.
Agreed. This is a hard team for me to figure out.
Yeah, the more that we keep talking about
it. I wanted to like them so bad last year.
I'm not going to make this official the more that we talk about it because I think that Lauri is too good. So, yeah.
His catch and shoot numbers are insane. He's like one of the best shooters in the league at that size.
Yeah. Next one,
Spurs.
Fun one. 36.5. Won 22 last year. They had Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, if you want to count that as a decent addition. And then they draft.
He's going to start.
Yeah. And then they draft Castle, 4th overall, I believe. He looked good in the preseason. He was a major piece on the championship teams with Connecticut.
5th best odds for Rookie of the Year, 10-1.
Yeah, I think he's a great guard to play with Chris Paul. I think he can learn a lot from Chris Paul, and he is a hell of a perimeter defender. He's not there totally offensively yet, which is fine. I think with Pop and Chris Paul, I think he's going to get a lot of the development that he needs this year. I think it's a good
Something
pick.
I like about this team is that all of a sudden they have depth at guard, which they did not have at all last year.
Mm-hmm.
But which is with Champagnie and Trey Jones playing behind Paul, which is what you need with Paul at 39. But it looks like an actual roster. Like there's structure to the roster and the depth chart now that they did not have last year with Jeremy Sohan playing point guard.
Yep. This line is a lot. It's 14.5 more than what they won last year. Obviously, we know why. They bring in some vets. They bring in some good players to pair with the best prospect since LeBron James. The best. His nickname says it all. He is an alien. He's ridiculous. He's, as advertised, that fucking good.
He is minus 170 to win Defensive Player of the Year.
He might win the next 5. This is
He's also the favorite to win Most Improved Player at plus 750, and he is 20 to 1 to win MVP. That's ninth best in the NBA.
I might get this. Might come back to haunt me, but this is one that when I looked at it, this is an auto lock under for me.
Wow.
I don't think they're there yet. I think this total's too high. I mean, 36.5 is a lot.
I know. And they're going to have Zach Collins on the floor playing real basketball for them. He might be the worst player in the league. I can't stand him.
He stinks.
And he went to Gonzaga, too. I'm biased towards Gonzaga guys.
He's never been good.
Awful. And the fact that they try to play him with Wemby on the floor at the same time.
Malpractice.
And Wemby's a full foot taller and is playing on the perimeter, and Collins can't do anything outside the paint is hilarious. It's embarrassing for him to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that the number is too high. I think that this is probably everybody's pick for like a shitty team that's going to get above, that's going to like shock people because you can just project Wemby at that level. But I see where you're coming from with the under. I'm afraid.
How many games does Chris Paul play? Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that like what you're saying with the finally have depth at guard, like how many games in the season is it? Oh, Chris Paul's going to miss 3 months, and now it's a rookie guard who's not there offensively yet. I think this is everyone's pick to go over for these low totals, and I think that 36.5 is they had to set it that high because there's going to be a lot of people betting the over. I think that the under is just, I think this is one of the easier ones. I don't think they're there yet. I would think maybe after next year, they figure out, because they have some question marks. I love Vassell. Keldon Johnson is a basketball player who plays professional basketball. I'm not sure if he's good at it. They have some question marks that they need to figure out. I think this is another kind of test period. I think they brought in Chris Paul to at least get Wemby some touches so that way he doesn't have to keep fucking fighting for his life to get the ball in the high post. I think they're going to sort some things out this year. I think this is another trial year.
I think you're right that the number is too high. Clearly they made good roster moves, but not that good.
Yep.
I mean, they didn't sign fucking Paul George, right?
Yeah.
Harrison Barnes is he's only 32. I thought he was older than that.
They made calculated mid-tier moves to get better, but not 14 wins better, in my opinion.
I think you're right.
Do you want to make that official, or are you gonna lean?
No, I'm not gonna make it official.
All right, fair enough. So that was the capture the flag tier. We land 3 in the West. The next ones are play-in teams. This team, I think, honestly, you could put in the capture the flag tier, but I don't think that they want to be down there. It's the Clippers, 39.5. They won 51 games last year.
This is the most interesting one to me of any team in the NBA. It's the most interesting one.
Yeah. So they re-sign James Harden. They lose Paul George, obviously. They've lost one of Kawhi Leonard's knees, and they add Derrick Jones Jr. Clippers fans, I know
Westbrook
you might be
gone too.
Westbrook is gone. You might think that Derrick Jones is a lot better than he is. These guys look a lot different when Luka Doncic isn't on the floor. That's all I got to say. Kevin Porter Jr., bad guy, awful signing. Fuck you, Steve Ballmer. He should be in fucking prison. But guess what, Clipper fans? You got a new stadium. Let's go. We got the Intuit Dome. Let's come down to Irvine, California. We're going to go in. We're going to have a great time. Lots of bathrooms. This team is sad, man. It's sad. You're basically going to get to watch Harden ISO ball. 35-year-old Harden ISO ball. That's what this team's going to be.
Shocking that they won 51 games last year. Do you remember how good they were? That one.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, the Mavs played them in the playoffs in the first round, and it was a close-ish series until Paul George and James Harden just started breaking shots.
51 is, I think, the ceiling again for this team. Probably high 40s ceiling. They got great health out of Kawhi, Paul George, Harden, and Westbrook last year. Kawhi played 68 games. Paul George played 74. Harden played 72. I went through and looked. Kawhi's 4 seasons with LA, He's played 57, 52, 52, and 68 games. Harden was shocking how little he has played since he left Houston.
Mm-hmm.
His last year in Houston, he had that big injury. He missed the whole season. He played 8 games. Since then, he's played 36, 44, 21, and 58 games. And then last year, 72.
Yeah.
Huge outlier. But I don't know that I think Harden missing a ton of games means this team is going to go under. I think if Kawhi plays along with Man, DJJ, Zubats, not a terrible bench. Norm Powell, Amir Coffee.
You want to give the Norm Powell quote?
Oh,
you have it?
What?
Were you the one who told me about what he said? Where he said that he actually thinks that they're going to be better without Paul George because they have the opportunity to give the other guys the ball more.
They bring in my guy Chris Dunn, Mo Bamba. Here's my pitch for the Clippers going over. What if Kai Jones is Dennis Rodman?
Okay, now
he looks great bald. Have you seen him since he cut his hair?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen him since he made that very schizophrenic ass video in his house where shit was like on the walls and stuff.
Listen, his preseason highlights have been great, and honestly, I don't know exactly what all he said. Videos that I saw, I didn't think he sounded that crazy. I think
it was overplayed for sure.
I think it was really similar to the mindset that a lot of professional basketball players have, which is I'm the best in the world. Yeah. I think that's a celebrated mindset in like a lot of people. I think the way he handled the backlash was the issue. He got pissed that people laughed at him, but I didn't think that it warranted like him being cut from teams and not being on the roster.
I agree. I thought it was a little crazy.
This is like the Clippers are, when you just look at it without looking at the numbers, or what team do you think could be the biggest disappointment of the season? Your easy answer is the Clippers.
Yeah. Depending on what your expectations for them are. So that's what I think.
Right. Well, this is another thing I wanted to point out with the West. How skewed the championship odds are versus the win totals for some of these teams that have like older vet stars, Lakers, Clippers, Warriors. So like the Clippers are projected to finish 12th based on win total, but they're plus 8,000 to win the championship. The Lakers is even crazier. The Lakers are projected to finish 11th based on win total. They're plus 3,000 to win the championship. That would pit them 4th in the West.
It's just because they can get dummy Laker fans to put money on that number.
I know, but I think it also slightly, with the Warriors, Lakers, and Clippers, it does kind of reflect the fact that they have a higher ceiling than some of these other middle teams because those guys are just that good. I wrote down for this, if Kawhi plays 60 games, they'll win 40.
Yeah, I mean, the two LA teams, which is, I guess we could just roll into the Lakers here with a back-to-back because I kind of want to talk about these teams in the same breath. Like you said with the Clippers getting an outlier healthier, so did the Lakers. Anthony Davis played 70-plus games, and so did LeBron James. That is not happening again. And they won 47. Their win total is at 43.5 this year. I'm not betting over or under in any of these teams because I want to bet the under, but the top-end talent on these teams, if they play games, is just too good. They will hit their totals if they get health, but I just can't bet on that happening. Obviously, the Lakers add Dalton Connect in the draft. They lost Taurean Prince, which doesn't really matter. They brought in JJ Redick as a coach. We'll see how that fucking goes. And then
I've never been so out on a coach as I am on
JJ.
He didn't even his podcast. He didn't even really sound like he knew what he was talking about that much on his podcast.
I love JJ as a player. I liked his podcast. He is a Duke guy, and he's done a great PR campaign to make himself. People forget that he's JJ Redick from Duke. And I'm starting to remember now that he keeps getting all these smug smiles and shit in the fucking interviews. It's like, all right, buddy, chill the fuck out. You're like, let's win some games first here. The draft.
You can tell he thinks that he's a basketball genius.
Yeah, and it's really he's getting back on. I'm kind of like against JJ now. Seems like a nice guy though. But yeah, these teams outlier health years last year. Obviously, their top end talent is very good. The Lakers is
Anthony Davis played the most games of his career last year. Crazy. He hadn't been over 60 games since 2017.
If he did somehow figure out magically his health, and Anthony Davis is going to play 70 games, the Lakers will probably win.
He made a blood sacrifice. Yeah. He gave up his jump shot so that he'd be able to stay healthy.
Yeah. I think the Lakers can win 50 games if they can get 70 games out of Bron and AD again, but I'm going to go out on the limb and say that ain't happening.
I kind of love the Lakers under. They can't shoot. Nobody can shoot on this team.
Yeah. It's
LeBron is the best shooter on this team.
Over under games.
Russell, I guess.
Over under games, D'Angelo Russell suits up for the Lakers.
I was shocked how well he played last year. Yeah. He had a career renaissance last year, and I'm willing to fade it. I don't think that it was sustainable. I think that the factor of playing with LeBron and just knowing that, like, not only could you possibly be gone tomorrow, but that he likely wants you gone tomorrow. I think it really affects people. Like, Russell even said in an interview last year, he was like, he had to totally like change his mindset about like how he was approaching like the season and games and stuff because of how crazy the trade rumors were for him last year. Like,
it definitely does. I'm a LeBron defender, but yeah, the way he does that is not cool. It definitely affects the locker rooms of teams. There's a correlation between LeBron teams before the trade deadline and after, when the guys know that they're going to be there. There is a correlation on why they make those runs.
I think that they're really counting on Gabe Vincent to be a perimeter scorer.
I was going to bring up Gabe Vincent.
I think even if Reeves has a bounce back year, I don't know what's his ceiling on 3-point percentage. 36. He doesn't. There's no way. Yeah, there's no way he gets to 40. I don't think Connect is going to be much of a contributor. I don't like their depth. They need more perimeter scoring. They're counting on D'Angelo Russell and Gabe Vincent to be their guards for 82 games. I don't like that bet.
Yeah. I think you kind of have talked me in actually on them under. Yeah, I don't see the health thing happening. And I just had flashbacks actually. I just remembered how bad the Lakers were in regular season games last year. I think I kind of forgot when they turned it on in the playoffs. Like, they played Denver tight, but shoot.
Yeah, I don't want to see them. I wouldn't want to get matched up with them in the play-in for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, that's terrifying. But that's where they're going to be, is in the play-in.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not in on this Lakers team. Yeah. All right, Rockets. 44.5 is total. They won 41 games last year. They had Reed Shepherd in the draft. They traded for Steven Adams. Was that in the offseason or did that happen mid-season?
I have no idea.
They swapped. Interesting, just this doesn't apply to anything, but they ended up swapping with Brooklyn picks in the Mikal Bridges trade. They gave Brooklyn their own picks back to go ahead and take Phoenix's picks from Brooklyn, which is interesting because that means the Rockets are counting on Phoenix being so incredibly bad in 27 through 31 that they're willing to give back the worst team in the league's picks for the next 3 years. So
I think that's smart. I think Phoenix will be terrible in about 3 years.
Yeah.
This is probably my favorite over of the
I knew you were going to go with that, yeah.
I love this Rockets team. Do you remember when they won 11 straight in March last year to try to make the play-in and just ran out of time? If the season was 2 weeks longer, they would have made the play-in. I am totally bought in on Jalen Green. I love Şengün. I love Jabari Smith. Uncle Jeff Green coming off the bench. Reed Shepherd is the second favorite for for Rookie of the Year. I think that his shooting at least is going to help spread this team out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm all over the Rockets. I love them. I think that they'll be. Where do I have them in the West? I have them as the 4 or the 5 in the West, probably.
Wow. That's crazy. That's very ambitious. I'm going to push back on you a little bit here. Rockets are interesting because last year it's kind of a tale of two seasons with them. Şengün injury, Jalen Green starts balling. Before Şengün was hurt, Jalen Green was still fine, but he wasn't what we saw to end the season last year with the 2 months.
They were 13-2 when Şengün got hurt in their last 15.
Which is tough when I think that's the best player on your team. You go 13-2 when he's out. They also obviously
no. Leading up to his injury, the 15 games right before he got hurt, they were 13 run. Oh,
what were they? Okay, but didn't they play well? Or maybe team wise they didn't play well. Jalen Green just balled out.
Right when Şengün went down is when Jalen Green stepped up.
Okay. Yeah. So Jalen Green is an interesting player here. The management obviously loves him and wants him to be the guy. Şengün is probably the best player. He definitely is right now on that team. And then you trade for Steven Adams, who's going to take up Şengün minutes. You've got a logjam at guard with VanVleet.
How many minutes do you think Steven Adams?
Jalen Green. I mean, I'm not saying a lot, but I don't know. They have
I don't
a lot
think
of
Adams
guards.
will play much. I think they'll be willing to go no center with and play Jabari Smith and play Jabari Smith at the center more than they would be willing to put Adams on the floor with Smith.
Where do you see this starting roster night one? Who's in?
VanVleet, Green, Brooks, Jabari Smith, and Şengün.
Okay, so you think Reed's off the bench?
Yeah, okay. And I think Dillon Brooks is the Marcus Smart of this team, where he is not going to be able to understand that it is not his floor. But I don't think that he put in the same position Smart was. He won't even be allowed to have the ball nearly as much as Smart was, so it won't be that big of a deal. But Shepherd is still behind Amen probably, and Tari Eason, and maybe Cam Whitmore off the bench as well.
Yeah, this is my thing. They have a lot of young guys who all want to show what they got. That's why I'm staying away from this one. I do love Ime. I love the top end, the guys that they have.
But I love Ime too.
I really worry about how many young guys do. This is another team that I'm talking about, like a trial. They need to figure it out. They haven't figured out what this roster is yet. They need to figure it out.
I think they have.
Okay,
I think Şengün has arrived. He's no longer a potential guy. He is a 20-10 great passing center.
I agree.
And I think Smith or Green had enough of it was half the year last year that he was 19 points per game. And I think Jabari Smith is still a question mark, but
I think Jabari's a good player.
Ceiling guy. High ceiling, yeah.
I actually think his ceiling's lower. I think he kind of is what he is, but I think what he is a good switchable player who can space the floor.
14-8 last year.
Yeah, he's just that's I think what he is.
I think that the hierarchy is set. I think it is Şengün, and then it is Green and VanVleet on the perimeter, and they run shit through Şengün, and then the other guys are finding a role to contribute. I think that's the hierarchy, and I think that it's going to be. I think they're going to be really good on offense. Like they're going to score a lot of points.
Yep. Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see it. I think this line is a very, very, very fair line. Looking at the teams above them and below them, I definitely think they're better than the teams below them. I definitely think that there's not many that I would take them above them. Maybe a few. You don't
like Houston better than New Orleans or Sacramento?
Maybe better than Sacramento. I'm kind of in on New Orleans, but we'll save that. I don't know. The Rockets, they're going to be a fun one to watch. Definitely, they're huge high up on the league pass rankings for me. I love watching Şengün, and when Jalen Green's on, there's not many players who are more fun to watch than him.
I think Ime fixed Jalen Green.
He might have.
I think he's a hard ass, and I think that's probably what Green needed.
Yeah. So yeah, the Rockets will be fun. I'm not putting an official player. You're officially on that over. You said this is your favorite one.
Yes, lock it in. I love the over.
Next up, Warriors 44.5. Won 46 games last year. They obviously lose Klay Thompson. They bring in Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield. They try to make a play for Markkanen. Can't get the deal done. This team's just sad to me. I think this is a sad, sad team.
I have a statement to make about this team. And I don't know how controversial this is, but Klay Thompson, as we sit here, October 12th, 2024, Klay Thompson is a better basketball player than Buddy Hield. I don't understand why people see this as a one-to-one. Hield's shooting is legit. He is seriously one of the best shooters in the league, and he still, everything else is so bad that it makes him almost not a good player, despite being an insane. Did you see the one leg three he hit?
Yes.
This team, it does not have enough good players on it. There's a lot of guys that I really like. Like I really love Gary Payton. Just the ceiling is so low because they're not going to have enough scoring. You're counting on Kuminga and Pajemski to be legitimate offensive contributors is a bad bet.
Yeah, I'm kind of so out on the Warriors. This is another under for me.
I'm also playing the under.
I think that the Lakers, Rockets, and Clippers are all better than them.
I think
if
I
they're
agree.
Healthy. Curry's still really good. I think this is malpractice what they're doing to Curry. He doesn't want to leave that team. I know they tried to get PG, they tried to get Markkanen, but like, don't try. He won you the fourth one, which you weren't supposed to get. You give that guy everything until he's done.
Yeah.
I just think it's dumb. The whole two timelines thing didn't work. They need to make a trade and try to get someone in there to help Curry win some games. He's not going to win another championship with the Warriors. That's not happening. So let's just make his legacy fun. He keeps winning games. Curry's one of the most fun players to watch ever. Just let him keep winning basketball games. Give him actual players. They're
counting a lot on Andrew Wiggins having a bounce back season.
I know they're paying a lot of money in the luxury tax and shit still. But if you're gonna pay, at least win some fucking games. I don't get it.
It's just not a good roster.
No,
it's really not.
But yeah, Curry and Draymond are still good players, so they'll win some games. But I just don't see them getting into the mid-40s.
Agreed. I don't think they're a bad team, but the West is just so stacked.
Yeah. All right, that was the play-in teams. So in that category, we had Warriors, Rockets, Lakers, Clippers. Kind of hard. I could see some of those probably could be in the can they make a run tier, but we're just going off of what the win totals are at. We're breaking these up. So next one is the Pelicans. Their total set at 46.5. They won 49 games last year. They add DeJounte Murray. They lose 40 pounds of Zion, Dyson Daniels, Larry Nance, and Valanciunas. This team does not have a center still on the roster. They do not have a center. I saw a report.
Did they say Herb Jones?
Herb Jones is supposed to play center for them, apparently. Yeah, I want to be in on New Orleans because I'm kind of in on the Zion fuck you season. I'm in on DeJounte being a way better fit. They needed a guard. DeJounte was not a good fit with Trey. I think he fits with this team.
McCollum playing point guard never made sense.
No, McCollum needs to be on the bench. Shout out CJ, fun player, great guy. Doesn't have his fastball anymore. Brandon Ingram.
Trey Murphy start over him.
I mean, look for Brandon Ingram to be traded. I mean, I'm not breaking any news here. Nobody wants him. He's a good player, but doesn't play basketball that's winning for most teams.
Bad vibes last season, especially towards the end when he came back from that injury. They sort of were working him in slowly, and he never got fully worked back in. They just kind of started running offense without him.
He does. He's a very good player, and it's just he doesn't do the things that they need. He loves the mid range, and they need him to space it out and shoot threes. He's like a 38% 3-point shooter. He only takes 3 a game.
Yeah, and I like a lot of the pieces here, but I don't know how they fit together.
Yeah. I'm not playing the over, but I do believe in this Pelicans team. If Zion is going to play 70 games, I think this team is very good. I think him and Murray, offensively, supplemented by whatever Brandon Ingram's giving you on a nightly basis, is a very fun and good team. People kind of forget because Zion gets trolled for being fat and dating porn stars. He's really goddamn good when he plays.
Yeah, I've not forgotten. He's incredible.
So I'm kind of in on this Pelicans team, but I'm not.
I think their bench sucks too. Outside of Trey Murphy, I am not a Jose Alvarado guy, and I don't even Jordan Hawkins. I don't know.
Hawkins
Javante
is a good
Green.
shooter, but not much else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not in on this.
losing
Despite thinking that Zion could have a huge year, I'm not in on.
losing Nance and Valanciunas. I don't know what the plan was. If they ever were going to get a center, if they really think that they can run Zion Herb front court, I don't. I guess if truly that report is correct and they say Herb's going to play the center, Zion will be. It'll be Zion Herb 4 and 5, whatever way you want to describe it as, and then I guess they're playing DeJounte, Trey, and McCall. Who's Ingram?
Ingram.
Yeah,
Trey Murphy will come off the bench.
Sure. So you're running DeJounte McCollum?
Yeah.
Jeez. I don't love that. I'll tell you that much. I do not love that.
It seems like a move that they didn't realize what was happening, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh shit, wait,
yeah,
we don't have it."
They're like, we want DeJounte Murray, and Atlanta's like, well, we want Larry Nance. And they're like, okay, and then
sounds good.
And then they went over their books and they realized that they didn't resign Valanciunas, and he's on the Warrior.
They do have a center on the roster. They have Daniel Tice.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Pelicans would be a fun and interesting team for sure. I've been saying it. Everyone's been saying it. Brandon Ingram for Jarrett Allen makes a lot of sense to me for both teams. So
nice. Yeah, I like that.
Throw that one out.
They're definitely. This team is going to have win streaks and loss streaks.
Yep.
You're going to have to be paying attention to what's going on with the Pelicans to be able to figure out where they're at.
Yep. Next one is also a fun one, just because their win total is 46.5, and they won 46 games last year. I think that's about what this team's going to win as constructed. It's the Sacramento Kings. They bring in DeMar DeRozan. They lose Harrison Barnes. Really fun team. Fox, Sabonis.
They re-signed Malik Monk.
Yep, they re-signed Malik Monk to a great deal.
I thought no chance he re-signed there.
Yeah.
That was a miracle re-signing for them.
And DeMar still has it, as far as I know.
Yeah, he was really good last year.
Yeah, and they're going to be a very fun team to watch. I don't know what you're getting from them defensively. It's probably not much, but they're going to be a top 5 offense probably in the league.
How much you buying the Keegan Murray hype?
I mean, he was like 21 when he was drafted. So now he's 24? I think he is what he is.
I don't know that he ever is going to really develop off the dribble, much of an off the dribble game. I think that his ceiling as a shooter and his size adds a lot with that as well. It's probably pretty high. But I don't. He's getting a lot of hype this year. I'm not exactly selling on him because I don't think that they need him to take an expanded role. But Fox is one of my favorite players in the league. Yeah. I love watching De'Aaron Fox.
Fox too.
The Kings are a team that even if I'm not bought in right now, when I sit down to watch a game and they're on, I'm always like grabbing my phone like, let me put $20 on the Kings. The Kings are gonna win this shit. Let me grab the Kings. Baby. Yeah,
they're a fun team to watch, but I would not be on this total. The more that
Kevin
I'm thinking
Huerter
about it, Brant,
had a bad year last year.
The more that I'm looking at it, Brant, you actually might be right on the Rockets. I might double back at the end and be putting it over on the Rockets. I actually think I like them a lot better than a lot of these teams in this tier. I don't have much else on the Kings. They're going to be fun to watch. It's kind of just wait and see. I don't think they're serious contenders or anything. The DeRozan move I don't think moves the needle much, but I think that they're fun. And then for the Kings, it's fun to be good with all the shit that they had to deal with for fucking 2 decades.
Yeah.
So
maybe they get a little better on defense with Keon Ellis taking on a bigger role. I think he's projected to start instead of Huerter this year.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Huerter, man.
Yeah, he really fell off. But who cares? Because him and Monk basically do the same thing anyway. Yeah. Monk's way better at it.
Yep. All right. Next one, we're going to Phoenix. 47.5. They won 49 games last year. Made some moves on the margins. Biggest one was Tyus Jones, obviously. They got a point guard, which was desperately needed for this team.
Great signing.
Yeah. I don't know what to do. I do know what to do. I'm over on Suns. I'm over on the Suns.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
I think Booker, Jones, Booker with a point guard, people forget. They were running Booker too much at point. Booker with a point guard is a deadly weapon. And when you put KD out on the floor for however many games he can play, and Booker isn't like the idea, like he's not the healthiest guy in the world. He misses some games, but I think this team's legit. The center is a problem still. I'm not a Nurkic guy, but I think when you have Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, and KD on the floor, and I guess even Beal. Beal was kind of good actually at the end of the season. I think that's a really, really good offense.
Except the playoffs.
Yeah. I think it's a really good offense.
Grayson Allen's best shooter in the NBA.
Yeah, we'll see if he can keep that up. But I think the Tyus Jones thing is, I think that's real. I think that's a really, really big piece that they needed.
I agree. I think that this is probably a team that's going to really get up to play the top teams in the West and in the NBA in general. And longevity, it's scary to do an 82-game bet on this team with Durant and Beal like needing to be out there for them to be good. But when they're all out there, they're going to be really good. And I'm not a big Nurkic guy, but he's fine.
Yeah, he'll do the job for them. Defensively is a problem for them, but I'm not worried. Bud's a great regular season coach. I think this team's going to be good. Very good. As long as Durant stays healthy, obviously. He doesn't even have to be super healthy. I think if Booker can play 65 plus and Durant can play 60 plus, I think they're winning 49 games, which is what they won last year.
I'm jumping on this over with you. I like it.
I think the Suns get a lot of hate, but I mean they won 49 last year and they had Tyus Jones. I think they're a better team this year. I think they can hit that again.
Did you see Beal's quotes about if he would have played? It's such a classic. It's what every NBA player says. Like, man, if I would have been out there,
yeah,
we would have been. We was scary.
Not the biggest Beal fan. Yeah, but moving on to the most talked about team in the offseason this year, probably. It's the Memphis Grizzlies. Everyone's little darling Grizzlies.
Everyone's favorite sleeper.
Literally. Their win total is at 47.5. They won 27 games last year, obviously, without a healthy jaw and kind of trying to tank, to be honest. If they were trying or not, they were really bad. They add Zach Edey in the draft. They get a healthy jaw. They lose Steven Adams.
Edey, Rookie of the Year favorite right now.
Yeah. What everyone will tell you is that the Grizzlies were the 2 seed. They won 55 games 2 years ago. What I will tell you is the West was not that good 2 years ago. They're way better at the top. So anyone who's trying to sell you on this Grizzlies team as being like 1 or 2 in the West is on crack, in my opinion. It's not happening. I think that I'm not playing the under because I think 47.5 is actually a good number for them. I just don't see it. I think Ja is really good. I don't know if he's going to stay healthy. And they're counting on a rookie center. Not every rookie center is Derek Lively. They're actually usually pretty bad. So I'm not fully sold on the grit and grind Grizzlies. Where are you at, Bram?
I am playing the under.
Yeah.
I'm not buying either. I like Desmond Bane. I do like Ja Morant. I do not buy the Jaren Jackson Jr. hype. And you know how I feel. I came to respect him at the end of the season last year.
Who did you cut out? Who did you say? You know how I know how you feel about who?
Zach Edey.
Oh, yeah,
Zach
yeah.
Edey. He's going to score some points, and that's going to make people think that he's good. But I don't know. I'm just not. I just don't like the players on this team. I think that I have a personal bias against a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that Brandon Clark is getting some hype for having a bounce back year off his injury.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're going to be seeing alarming amounts of Luke Kennard on the floor.
You
for
are
this team.
for sure. I was going to bring that up. Yeah, he's the only floor space. Him and Bane. That's the only spacing they have.
Yeah. I do think Ja is going to have a good year.
I
I
agree.
think people have forgotten how good Ja
Yeah.
is, but I don't know that that gets them over 47.5 wins. I don't think it does. I have them in that mid to low 40s tier, somewhere in between hosting a playoff series and being in the play-in.
Yeah, I think that's about where they should be. I think in 5 or 6 seed is probably the ceiling for them. I don't see how they break into the top four, personally.
Agreed. I think, yeah, ceiling is the right word here. I think they have a ceiling.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now we're gonna go into the contenders category.
Wait, real
Matt.
quick. Out of that group, New Orleans, Sacramento, Phoenix, Memphis, highest ceiling, lowest floor. Who do you got?
So lowest floor, like the worst they could, like the team that could be the worst.
Yeah, if one of these teams bottoms out,
All
who
right.
is it?
I think it's probably. I think it's. Bottom out, it's either the Kings or the Pelicans. If everything goes very bad for the Pelicans, it could be very bad.
I agree. I think I had the Pelicans here too.
Yeah, Kings I also could see bottoming out just by they can't guard anybody and the shots aren't falling this year. DeRozan gets hurt, something like that. I think highest ceiling is the Suns. I think Suns are a 50-plus win team if everything goes right.
I agree. I got the same answer on both of those. I think New Orleans potentially could be good and potentially also could be blowing this team up at the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I mean, another Zion injury and they're just completely fucked. So,
right.
Yeah, it's probably the Pelicans. Contenders, first one, Mavericks, 49.5 wins. They won 50 games last year. I am a Mavericks fan. I watch damn near every game, so I'm going to have some things to say here. Obviously, Luka finally breaks through, makes it to the NBA Finals. You would think he could probably finally shut up some of the fucking ass clowns on the national media stage who just absolutely hate him for some reason. Because he's better than all the American-born players. But apparently he still can't, so there's still Maverick doubters out there. They make some great offseason moves. Nico is probably the best GM in basketball right now. He goes out, he gets Klay Thompson, which, people can say what they want about Klay. He's still one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. And
people cannot say what they want about Klay. People need to watch their fucking mouths about Klay and have some goddamn respect. He's a legend. He's an NBA legend.
I agree.
And he still can play.
He still can play, and he's going to be playing a lot for this Mavericks team. He's going to be getting a lot of wide open corner threes.
I think it was a great signing. Yeah. I love Klay on the Mavs.
Yep. They also flipped Tim Hardaway Jr. for Quentin Grimes, which was an absolute fleecing. I know Grimes has had some injury history, but Tim Hardaway Jr. at the end of the playoff run was not even playing. He was unplayable how bad he was for us. Grimes at least gives you a swingman option. They lose Derrick Jones Jr. and Josh Green. They bring in Najee Marshall, who I have been very, very, very hyped up from Pelicans fans on. I think
great defender.
Yep. I think he can be he might not be what DJJ was giving us at his peak offensively, because offensively Derrick Jones Jr. Was, I don't know what the hell happened to him. Career year for him. Glad he got his money. NBA players, if you're listening, Luka will get you paid. Come take a pay cut to play for the Mavs for a year. And then they obviously bring back Dinwiddie. He'll probably be the last guy on the bench.
Najee Marshall, real quick. Of anybody that I watched a lot of the Thunder last year, I think Najee Marshall guarded Shea better than anybody else in the entire NBA.
Yeah, which is great because Shea scared the shit out of me in that playoff series. So in out, obvious upgrades on this team, and that's on top of already making the finals, walking down the entire West, and this team, after the trade deadline, when they brought in PJ and Gafford, was on a 63-win pace. This is a absolute lock over for me. I think that this team has a chance to push for the most wins in the West with a healthy Luka. He's going to win the MVP this year. Kyrie is really the only question mark on how healthy he can be, because he had a very healthy season last year, which is not something Kyrie Irving is known for. But I think Luka has shown that he can carry an offense by himself, and it doesn't really matter.
If it was anybody other than Luka, I would say they don't have enough scoring behind Kyrie, secondary scoring. But because Luka can, if Kyrie misses a month, can go for 36 a game and 10 assists in that span, I think he's the only player in the league that you it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I like Mavericks. I don't know what the number is that you can get them at most wins in the West, but I like that number because
Okay, I wouldn't go that far,
well,
buddy.
I'm just saying that the only team that I'm worried about with that is the Thunder. That's the only team. I'm not worried about the Nuggets or Wolves.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
I like the Mavs. I think I have the Mavs second in the West. I'm playing their over as well.
Look for Derek Lively to keep making improvements. He had an unbelievable rookie year, overshadowed obviously by Victor Wembanyama's rookie year, but he was ridiculously good in the playoffs. Special type of player, 20 years old, can hit people in the short roll already. He's very active as a passer, great rim protector, unbelievable roll man for Luka with the lobs. I'm hoping he can shoot threes. He made one in the playoffs last year. He was 1 for 1 in the finals. I really like Derek Lively. I think that he hasn't even scraped the top of what he can be. I might be wish-casting a little, but I really like him. And then obviously PJ and Gafford were huge additions for the team. After the trade deadline, they balled out. PJ especially in the playoffs. They have 48 minutes of amazing center play with Luka, which is all we've been asking for. He's been stuck with Dwight Powell his entire career. And Nico fixed the problem in 1 year.
His odds, you're not getting any value on it, but I think that it's right for Luka to win MVP. I think he runs away with it this year.
Yeah. As long as the media doesn't keep just completely destroying him for no reason.
The other guys at the top, the team, the way their situations work out with their teams, I just don't. Giannis is the only other one that I think has a legit chance. Maybe Shea, but we'll get to that in a second. But
the only guy
Luka's plus 370 right now. And for a guy that's never won it before, that is shocking, but I think it's right, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, and Jokic is 1-3. They're not giving him another one.
He's plus 400. He's right behind.
That's a donation. Yeah. Not happening.
Right.
Yeah. That's my Mavs rant.
Yeah, I love the Mavs this year. Even if Clay and Kyrie miss a lot of time, I think that they still easily get to 50 wins.
As a guy who's watched Luka his whole career, if you lose Clay and Kyrie for 2 months, this is still the best roster Luka's ever had. I mean, I know he had Brunson, but Brunson wasn't Brunson on those teams. So
Gafford and Lively get combo in the front court.
So we're on to the Nuggets next.
Hang on. Do you think that do you like Dallas 10-1 to win the championship or plus 475 to win the West?
I would take them 10-1 to win the championship because I think if they can get past the Thunder in the West, I'm only worried about the Thunder. I think that series we won in 6. It was and wasn't closer than it was because we should have won Game 4, but Game 6 we probably should have lost. The Thunder scare me. They are a very good matchup for us, especially with Hartenstein now. Having an actual center, I think Chet's going to be better. We can save this for Thunder talk. But, yeah, I would like them at 10-1 because I think that the Celtics, if they don't make it out, I think we can beat the Knicks. So I would like, if I could get an exact finals ticket of money on Dallas over New York, I would like to see what that could pay me. That would be what I would be looking for.
Dallas is in my top tier of legitimate contenders. They're in the top with the other powerhouses. I think. Yeah, I can understand putting a finals bet on them.
I gotta run to take a little bathroom break. You want to start us off with the Nuggets here?
Sure. The Denver Nuggets win total is 51.5 this year. They're plus 950 to win the championship. They're plus 475 to win the West, almost identical to Dallas's numbers there. Last year, Denver was 57-25. That was tied for first in the West. They lost the tiebreaker, ended up the 2 seed. And they had a incredibly disappointing, disastrous fall apart Game 7 against the Wolves. They blew one of the biggest leads. I think the biggest lead in Game 7 history blown. and they lose Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They bring in Russell Westbrook to take his spot. And spoiler alert, I'm going way on out. I'm selling the Nuggets this season. Despite the fact that I think Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA, I wonder, here's how I imagine their offense is going to work. Centered around the two-man game between Jokic and Murray. That's great. It's one of the best things that any team does. Then you have the two specialists, Michael Porter Jr., the shooter, Aaron Gordon, the cutter. And KCP was the skeleton key that fit into any other hole that they needed him to when that machine of those four all playing in their role didn't work out. Russell Westbrook is not a skeleton key. Russell Westbrook is the number one player in the league where everything has to be perfect for him. Like, you have to do things his way. I think maybe he brings a little bit of value off the bench in the Murray role when Murray is sitting and just letting him run the offense. But if he's going to be starting for this team and he's going to be on the floor at the end of the game with those four guys, it is going to look exactly like it did when he the Lakers. He's going to be totally lost and he's going to be terrible because they're not going to be able to let him do what he's good at.
Yeah, I'm with you lockstep on the Nuggets. I think this is an under team. I think this is going to be very similar to Jokic's second MVP season when they won like 46 games. I just don't see it with this team. They lose KCP, which, it's maybe not be like the biggest thing for some teams, but for the Nuggets, I think it really is a big loss. And then on top of that, Jamal Murray is playing some of the worst basketball of his career right now, and he just keeps getting hurt. I don't know what I'm getting from Murray, and when I have to rely on Jokic doing the entire thing for the whole 82 games, yes, he's the best player in the world. Luka's kind of on his corner, but as of right now, he's the best player in the world.
Here's my pitch for Denver being the best team in the West. I think what has to happen is I think one of either Peyton Watson or Julian Strawther has to take a huge step forward. Yeah. They're projecting Russ to come off the bench and Christian Braun to start at shooting guard, which Braun is interesting because he's so athletic and like you love all the stuff he does, but he's never been asked to do anything. He's just been like an off the bench energy guy. And like, if you're counting on him to be a night in, night out contributor, I don't know how much you're outside of their top four between Braun, Westbrook, Strawther, Watson, Dario Saric. One of those guys has to be a legit, like, night in, night out threat to score and like be a good player to keep up with the top teams in the West. I like Watson. He was not there yet last year. He still has a long way to go offensively, especially. And his shot is, it looks good. He looks like he should be a good shooter, but he's not.
Yeah. I just, with this team, it scares me. I think that there's also a very big disconnect between GM and coach. I think that's very evident to everyone. GM's drafted young players. He wants them to play. Michael Malone does not want to play them. Now they've forced his hand. They haven't resigned guys. And he has to play the young guys, and I don't know how that's going to work out. I think there could be a situation where they aren't doing well, and Malone's going to be really pissed off. I think there could be bad vibes in this locker room about midway through this season. I think that this team needs a redo, an overhaul on this roster, but I don't think that they're going to do it because they've pretty much locked in, committed it with the Jamal Murray extension they just signed. And I don't know how much longer Jokic is going to play basketball, to be honest. So I don't know if there will be a V2 of the Jokic Nuggets. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, and maybe Jokic is just that good. Murray comes back and he's playing better. But I think
there's definitely a high floor with Jokic and Murray.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to fall off a cliff. Yeah,
right.
But I don't know if they're going to hit 50
outside of
wins.
that, I don't. Porter Jr. and Gordon are both so like. They're specialists. They fit specifically into one thing that they do really well. And they're just missing so much outside of like what that specifically is. They don't have anybody else that they can be like, okay, just bail us out here. Like, it has to be Jokic every possession.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, how many minutes is Westbrook playing legitimately?
I don't know.
Like,
I'm surprised he's listed as coming off the bench. That surprised me.
I don't know, man. Yeah, just not in on it. I don't really have anything else to say. I could be completely wrong, but I'm just not. I don't think that they're going to win 50 games. It's kind of just how I am. Speaking of another team I'm not in on, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Everybody's favorite Timberwolves. Everybody's favorite.
I was hoping, the only reason I was hoping Hunter would be because he told me that he's so in on the Timberwolves. And I wanted to hear his pitch. And if it was anything other than just Ant is so cool.
Or a man himself leading this team. I love Ant, to be honest. I do think
how can you not?
Really good. Their total's at 52.5. They won 56 games last year. I think losing Cat is a big fucking deal. I understand it, why they did it. I'll hear all the arguments. Talent in, talent out, they lost. Julius Randle is buns. I like DiVincenzo. Not a needle mover for me. They draft Rob Dillingham. He's like 170 pounds. Hear me out. This team, it's 36-year-old Mike Conley at point guard. Ant. Jaden McDaniels. Julius Randle, and Rudy Gobert. I want you to picture a playoff series. It's the final 2 minutes. It's a one-possession game. Ant has the ball, and there's nowhere to go because everyone's sagging off of the guys who can't shoot.
And there was already nowhere to go for him last year, and they got rid of their best floor spacer.
Yeah,
They're shooting big, the greatest shooting big in NBA history.
I just don't see
Randall is not a good spot-up shooter. He's an ISO guy. Like, he's a scorer on the same level as Cat, I think, or similar. But he's not as good of a spot-up shooter. He doesn't space the floor as well, and he doesn't move off the ball at all. And it is just, he is such a lane clogger added to a team that can't afford to have the lane clogged anymore.
And you know what the best part about trading for Julius Randle is, Brant?
What?
They get him in a contract year. He's going big. He's going to be chucking so many
Apparently, he had a good year last year. Apparently, he was, but who knows? I didn't watch when he was healthy. I missed the whole. I do like even DiVincenzo and Naz Reid off the bench is as good as it gets anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. But the problem is with me, this is starting lineup. Who's closing playoff games for this team? Is it what I just said? Is that the closing group?
Well, that's always the question with Gobert is, are you going to have him out there? And I feel like they go back and forth on it. I feel like he's out there more often than I would think he would be when you have Naz Reid.
Yeah. I'm not sold. I'm under on this team.
DiVincenzo is going to have the ball a lot because they're going to need someone on the perimeter that can do something.
Yeah. I think for this team to hit this total, I think Ant has to take yet another step. I think he has to be damn near. With Cat gone, he needs to be pushing 30 a game if they're going to be winning this many. He needs to be pushing 30 a game.
I think he can. I don't know that he will.
Yeah. I just don't know where the scoring's coming from. I guess
I'm going to look something up real quick.
I don't know where the scoring's come from. People, you tell me it's Julius Randle. You tell me Jaden McDaniels. I watch these guys in playoff series every year, and every year they're bricking shots. So maybe in the regular season they'll be fine.
Randall's the king of sucks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
So yeah, playoff. Maybe they'll win regular season games, but I'm just going to take my thoughts on this, and I'm just going to say it's probably under for me. The more and more that I keep talking about it, maybe the Rockets are. I might like the Rockets better than this team, to be honest.
I told you, I have the Rockets fourth or fifth in the West.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I think this the Gobert thing is really, it's not. It's so hard to fit a team around Gobert, and this is not. And when you have Ant, who needs floor spacing, it's a very big problem.
Anthony Edwards over under for points per game this year. Guess what it is set at?
28.5.
27 even.
27 even. Okay. Yeah, he needs to be over that if they want to win 50 plus games. He's
agree.
going to need to be over that. Yeah. Anything else on the Wolves?
No, I'm playing their under.
Yeah. I'm going to do devil's advocate for him real quick because I think there's a lot of people who are in on the Wolves. Devil's advocate, Cat, inconsistent. You bring in Randall, who is a good regular season player. He has been for the Knicks. He has been 2010 guy. He's been an All NBA guy. Ant takes another step. You hope you get 50, 60 games out of Conley. But you hope Ant keeps improving as a playmaker. And then with a offense surrounding McDaniels and Randall and Ant, you hope that that's enough to keep getting you 50-plus wins, and Gobert is enough on defense to hold it down as a top. You hope that you can basically scrounge a top 10 offense and top 10 defense out of that. Is devil's advocate. I'm not sure health-wise or talent-wise they can do that. But that's,
I wish Naz Reid was on a different team.
Same.
I wish he didn't have to play behind Gobert.
Yeah. But that's the Wolves. Last team, we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oklahoma
City Thunder. They won 57 games last year, and for some reason this line's at 56.5. I don't understand it because they got way better. Yep. At least when I checked yesterday. Oh wait, maybe I've typed this in wrong. It is 58.5 because I totally
58.5.
I totally look. I can literally picture seeing it. It has to be 58.5. There's no way it's 56.5.
I got it right here. It's 50. It's 56.5.
Jesus, that's crazy. Yeah. So we're both over, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
They get Caruso.
I have placed a significant wager on this team to win the NBA championship.
Yeah. They bring Caruso, bring in Hartenstein to a 57-win team. They lose Josh Giddey. They re-sign two of their mid-tier role players who are good, Wiggins and...
I wouldn't use the word lose for Josh Giddey. Okay.
They let Josh
because
Giddey
we got a better player for him.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up, I have never in my life seen a one-to-one NBA trade where it is so clear that one player is so much better than the other one.
Yeah. The argument for that trade, real quick, for everybody is that you have to pay Giddey, which is kind of like, I don't know why the Bulls are just dumb. Whatever. You have to pay Caruso too, so I don't know. It was stupid. But Sam Presti, GM, signs Wiggins and who? Was it Joe? Who was the other one that they signed to those mid-tier deals? I think it was Wiggins and Joe.
Wiggins re-signing, I almost shed a tear. I was so happy. Yeah. He's one of my favorite players.
Keeping the whole team together. This team is very good. This team was a couple Chet made threes away from being the Mavericks and probably going to the finals, to be honest. I would have taken them over to Minnesota. Bringing in Hartenstein is big because Chet now doesn't have to bang down low with the centers, which is where they were getting killed on the boards.
He did so much.
Yeah. They were asking a lot of Chet, who it was his first year in the league. Obviously, he missed his entire rookie year. Chet's going to be a really good player. And, yeah, I'm in on this team. I think they're going to be really, really good. Shea is, as advertised, Shea is for real, and he is a playoff killer. Brand's putting his headphones, so I'll ramble a little more. They shoot a lot of threes. They're going to keep shooting a lot of threes. And they play really good defense. They picked up some more good perimeter defenders on top of bringing in another shot blocking center to play along with Chet. I think this is going to be a top 5 defense and top 5 offense. So when you get that rest, yes, I can hear you.
The perimeter defense is insane. I know you're not a Shea. Shea's like the 7th best.
Yeah, Shea's defense is all rep, but he's good enough. If Shea's your worst defender, that's a pretty good situation to be in. But did your AirPods die?
Yeah, and my audio cuts out.
Yeah, it does a little bit. So you got any last thing you want to say about them? I guess we can cut it up a little bit here.
I do.
Is your AirPod gonna work?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This team has so many players that I'm projecting to be better than they were last year. Jalen Williams, Chet, Wiggins, Cason Wallace, all are projected to take significant steps forward. I think Jalen Williams could be 22, 23 points per game this year. They want Chet to handle the ball more. It's going to be interesting playing with Hartenstein. This is kind of why I'm not bought in on Shea MVP. I think Hartenstein, Chet plays like a perimeter player on offense. He plays like a guard. He like sometimes is in the dunker spot, but he faces the basket almost all the time. Hartenstein's gonna want to. They're gonna want to do pick and roll, which is not really Shea's best. I just don't know if he gets to 31 points per game.
Yeah,
I think maybe efficiency goes up. I think maybe his 3-point efficiency goes up. His shot he fixed the hitch in his shot, but he's not going to get as many 5-out ISO looks as he got last year, which I think is better for the Thunder overall as a team because they're going to be less dependent on it, but probably hurts his MVP odds a little bit. But Chet playing the 5 is still going to happen a lot, I think. I think that Hartenstein, they'll start with the 2 bigs, and then I think Hartenstein will be the first one out, and they're going to go back to that 5 out that they ran a lot. And I think they're the best team other than Boston.
Yeah. And
I think they might be better than Boston.
Yeah.
Just because I think Shea is better than Tatum.
I think that this 56.5, you're getting at probably like minus 110, minus 120. I would take this up to
minus 105.
Yeah, I would take this up to 60 plus and get plus money on it if I was going to make a year-long bet on them. I think they could easily. This is easily a 60-win team. Probably. I think the only argument against it is that the West is just really good.
They had 2 big issues last year: defensive rebounding, which they addressed by adding Hartenstein, and Josh Giddey, which they turned into Alex Caruso.
I think Giddey's another addition by subtraction, and it's also addition by subtraction, but you add an actual person that's really good.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they were better just with like Wiggins or Wallace playing those minutes instead of Giddey last year.
Yeah. Again, we both like Giddey as a player, just not on this team.
Right.
Yeah. You want to go over anything else for them, or you want to go over our picks for this?
They're my favorite team. I'm going to watch 82 games this year. I am so excited for the Thunder.
All right. You want to lead off?
And they're the deepest team in the league as well.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
All right. I had a lot of plays in the West. I have my unders were the Lakers under 43.5. God, yeah. Lakers under 43.5. Warriors under 43.5.
44.
Sure. Even better. Grizzlies under 47.5. Nuggets under 51.5. Wolves under 51.5. Because I think all of those wins are getting eaten up by the 2 at the top. The Thunder and the Mavs, both over their totals. The Suns over their total. And the Rockets over their win total of 43.5.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna have a lot of similarities.
Those overs, by the way, I'm picking those overs because I think those are. No, I won't go that far. I still think the Nuggets and the Wolves are better than the Suns and the Rockets, but I think that they should be in the conversation with them.
I think you can talk me Rockets is 6th best in the West. That's about as high as I can get.
I think I think you're right. I think they could have a better record than 6th in the West.
Yes.
And also Thunder to win the championship plus 700.
All right, I am in on the Thunder over 56.5. I am in on the Mavericks over 49.5. I am in on the Suns over 47.5. We're pretty lockstep here. And you've talked me into Rockets at 44.5. I'm in on that one.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Unders, same. Under 52.5 for the Wolves. Under 51.5 for the Nuggets. Under 47.5 for the Grizzlies. But I will not be taking the Lakers one. I won't be touching that, my sweet Prince LeBron. I will be taking under for the Warriors, so 44.5, which is not a bet against Steph Curry. It's a bet against ownership.
Agreed.
And I will be adding one more under, and that will be the Spurs at 36.5 to mine.
I've come so far around on the. I love that guy. I saw the video today, this morning, and I was laughing so hard. That's our ball, ain't it? That's our ball, ain't it?
Dude, he's so funny. One of the truly great all-time just sideline, like just so many clips of LeBron just being hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my God, we didn't even mention his son, did we? We need to get our clicks up. We need to do a Bronny segment.
Yeah, I don't
think he's that bad. I think he's kind of good.
I have not watched any of it, so I won't give an opinion. I've seen box scores and don't look good.
He's got basketball IQ. He knows the game. You can tell.
Okay, that's our Bronny segment. He knows basketball.
He knows the game. Yeah.
All right, that was the NBA preview. We have not decided how we're going to cover the NBA season with the picks. We're probably just going to be throwing them onto our football cards. We'll do them separately, but throw them on the podcasts. If we have any plays we like.
We'll do some NBA pods throughout the season. I don't know that we'll have a schedule for it, but we'll jump on some basketball exclusive pods for sure.
Yeah. Yep. So that's that. Corey wanted me to shout out to anyone who's listed all the way through. He's adding Ohio State -3 to his card this week for a unit. I guess we talked him into it. Everybody's big on Ohio State this weekend. But yep, that's the NBA preview. We're excited for the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun. A lot of money to be made. I feel like we both agree that we for sure are better at betting the NBA than we are at the NFL.
Yeah, I definitely am.
NBA is a lot, I think, easier to predict than the NFL. But yep, that's the podcast. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend of college football to watch. And well, this podcast will be coming out later, so when you see it, the Buckeyes have won. Let's give a quick preview. Buckeyes win. Oklahoma or Texas?
Texas.
Texas wins, and then is it Ole Miss LSU? I think so.
I don't watch.
If that is it, I'm going Ole Miss. All right. Peace out.
I need $1 bad.
I need $1 bad.